Hey guys, we have to work fast because the GoPro for some reason wasn't charging, but and it drives Lizzie crazy because I start doing a whole bunch of stuff and we're not getting it on film. So we're getting ready to travel a little bit, and we want to bring some of our own chickens with us. The way we've been doing chickens here is I've just been pulling one out. These are our Cornish cross that we did in the spring. So I'll pull one out and we'll eat it throughout the week. I'll breast it out. I'll take out the 2 boneless breasts. I'll take out leg quarters and wings, and we'll just kind of eat that as a couple meals throughout the week. But because we're traveling in the RV, we don't want to bring a whole bunch of whole birds with us. So I am separating them now. That's all boneless, skinless breast. This is just some leftover carcasses and some fat to make broth with. And then I've got whole wings. I just do our wings in 2 pieces. That would be the flat and the drummy. I keep them together because we eat the whole thing. And then a bunch of leg quarters. So the way I break down a chicken, first thing, super important, is a very, very sharp knife, as I almost trip on the dogs. I splurged and went with a Benchmade. This is a Meat Crafter Benchmade. And I always run a couple swipes on the sharpener before I even begin any of this, because the knife should do all the work. Okay, so the chicken is on breast down. And the way I start is I run the knife on each side of the backbone, and I'm just kind of scoring it. That way I have a clean cut. Then I take my poultry shears and I cut along that scored line on both sides. You might want to take the camera and actually be able to get in better on this. So this is removing the backbone. So that's the backbone. We don't do anything with that other than we make broth with it. So I throw it in with my carcasses. So there's you may have heard of a term, spatchcock. Like, that's a way some people roast a whole chicken. So the spatchcock, basically you could take that backbone out, and then you would just flip it over on your roasting pan, and you kind of spread it out and butterfly it, and you can season the whole thing, and you can roast it just like that. But that's not what we're doing. So for next, I take my sharp knife and I go in at the wing, and I go into where this would be the drummy, is kind of dips into the breast, and I take the sharp part of my knife and I just kind of poke around, freeing it up from that breast. I don't have to work. I'm not cutting through bone. I'm just letting the knife do the work, and I use the leverage of the chicken, the weight of the chicken, to hang. And that way it's just pulling. I'm not trying to dig in or cut any bone. As I just kind of lightly swipe my knife, it's going to find where it can cut, and it eventually will drop the rest of that bird, just like that. Okay, so I have my wing, this little connective tissue here. That's what people are not used to seeing. That's my drummy, that's my flat. And then this little nub, same deal. I'm not cutting bone, I'm just swiping this. This knife is so sharp. I'm just sliding it around, kind of loosening it up. This, I could either probably pop it off or let it again hang. I'm just like finding where it goes. It's just gonna boop, throw that into my...
Finding the valley.
That one is, I guess, a valley. It's kind of like when we're breaking them down. All cuts are in valleys, meaning you're not grinding through bone or chopping through bone, because then you're gonna get bone fragments in your finalized product. So here I'm doing the other side, again letting the weight of the bird hang. These Cornish are nice and heavy, so there's plenty of weight to separate it at the joint. You can almost see right there it's separating at that wing joint. If I lift it up, it's gonna drop. Okay, again, other wing, I hit the connective tissue, then I'm gonna flip it around and get rid of this little tip, wing tip, that you could leave it on there, I guess, but there's really no meat, but we get some good collagen and some of the fat from it when we make broth. So I just toss that in with our broth stuff. Okay, so now I've got more wings over here. All right, now I'm picking it up by the drum. That would be the drumstick, thigh, or we just do leg quarters, which is both. So when I lift it up by here, this is skin. You connective tissue. When I take this knife, it just starts to drop it. Swipe, swipe, swipe. Chicken leg quarter. If the knife is sharp, we really don't have to work. Again, see how I'm not using any pressure. This knife is so sharp. You have to be careful with a sharp knife, but also it's way safer to use a sharp knife than a knife that's dull. And if you cut yourself, the cut will be pretty nasty. Clean, skin on, leg quarters. Okay, so now what I've got left is my 2 whole bone. Well, they're 2. This would be considered a full breast, bone-in breast. When you go to the grocery store and buy split chicken breast, it's literally just split down the middle, bone in. And we just do them boneless, skinless. So here, I'm finding the arch of the breastbone. And again, I'm just going to score on one side of it, whatever side I'm doing first. And just lightly run my knife, not using any pressure. I'm just sliding along that breastbone, separating it. So here I'm getting to my tenderloin cut, full breast. Again, sliding nice and easy. It's just starting to separate. The trickiest part on these breasts for me is up here, which I guess would be kind of like the collarbone, wishbone. And if you look at it this angle, so I'll put it back together, it's kind of like a V shape on each side. And I cut along this bone. Some people cut through it with those poultry shears. I find that if you just slightly go along, you can peel that breast right off. Again, use the weight of the bird every time you can and the sharpness of your knife. And it's just going to drop. You see this fascia line here? I'm just going to go through that. Boom. Easy peasy. Peel the breast, the skin off the breast. I can just hit it with the knife where it didn't connect. Beautiful, boneless, skinless. Tenderloin I keep attached. And put that in here. And we're going to, after we break this down, then I'm going to vac seal everything. So that is more carcass, right? Yep. I still have, this is actually the hardest part of the whole thing. I still have 1/2 breast on here. And the only reason it's hard is because you don't have as much to grip on. But I'm just going to go back down the other side of that split breastbone. Slowly. Guiding my knife, letting it cut. Go back here, I find there's that one side of the wishbone, collarbone. So the other V is this way. Kind of like guide my knife along there. That's where it gets a little tricky just because you don't have much to hold on to and they're slimy and slippery. But I've got it there. Sliding it down. I'm now into the tenderloin, peeling that off. Down, down, down. Now I can kind of get a grip of the whole breast and just run my knife along the rest of the carcass. This is again that fascia line, that fat line I look for to separate the whole breast. And just kind of go through there. Really effortless if you have a sharp knife. Cutting it through there. Boop. So this is the whole draw of the Cornish cross, guys. Look at that single breast. Yeah, I'd be interested if we can get our scale just to weigh how much boneless breast meat we got out of those. This was 5 birds. So this was 5 birds. We're going to vacuum seal and freeze a bowl of breasts from 5 chickens, and then also the legs and wings, right? Mm-hmm. I'll do them separate. I'll probably put, you can do whatever you want. I'll probably put 2 leg quarters per bag because that's what we'll eat for a meal. I might just do all these wings together so we could have a wing night. And then these are large breasts, so we split one. I'll probably do single vac breasts. And then the plan is to make more broth, which we actually have some broth going here. For chicken broth, I only do it on low for 4 hours. We add salt and pepper, some herbs, some apple cider vinegar to help pull that collagen and gelatin out from the bones. And then, let's see, onions, celery, carrots, herbs. And we do fresh herbs from our herb garden. And we are gonna freeze that as well, that finished bone broth, and bring that with us. We have
So
some freezer pouches. You can throw them in the freezer.
just wanted to break down a chicken real quick and show you guys how easy it can be. Don't be intimidated. Just get in there and do it. And
the more you do, the easier you get. You start to feel, you know, knife, it kind of just glides, you know, you'll find it.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be difficult the first time and you'll seem like you're messing it up, but I don't think you can really go wrong. I did do one and I'm a vegetarian in recovery, so. Here is some of the frozen milk that we've already done, and we're gonna use these same packages for our broth. So super excited about that. We've been using jars and I've broken quite a few. All right, thanks for joining us on this episode of how to butcher a chicken? No, how to cut a chicken up.
Some people may say